After surviving the avalanche, rescue was no longer possible to ignore, and somehow cross the Andes on foot. They volunteered to risk everything for everyone else. Using insulation from the air from the brutal nights ahead, knew this goodbye might be their last. With only a few days of supplies and an unbreakable will to live, the three men disappeared into the frozen wilderness. The air grew thinner and the climb became more exhausting. The Andes offered no trails, no signs, only endless snow, freezing winds. As the three men pushed deeper into the Andes, they stumbled upon an missing tail section. Hidden beneath layers of snow, it had remained untouched since the crash. Section, they found clothing, food, and shelter from the freezing wind. For the first time in weeks, they experienced a night that felt almost comfortable. They discovered something unexpected, an aircraft battery weighing nearly 25 kilograms. It sparked a daring idea. If they could reconnect it, far too heavy to carry back across the glacier. Instead, they tried in communication equipment to the tail section. For days, they worked happened. The radio remained silent. Only one option remained. They would have to keep walking. Somewhere beyond the endless mountains, they prayed that civilization still existed. 2 months had passed since the crash. Winter was tightening its grip on the Andes. Then, on December 11th, another violent storm rolled across the mountains, bringing a new wave once again. The storm and avalanche conditions brought another devastating setback. More lives were lost, and the number of survivors fell even further. After weeks of unimaginable hardship, only 16 survivors remained. They had endured freezing temperatures, starvation, and repeated disasters, yet they refused to give up. No longer an option. The group chose 3 of their strongest men to attempt one final expedition. If they failed, no one would ever leave the Andes alive. When darkness fell, temperatures far below freezing, their homemade sleeping bag became their only protection. Pressed tightly together, they shared body heat through another. After days of relentless climbing, they finally reached the summit. For a brief moment, they believed rescue was within reach, that civilization would be waiting on the other side.
Only more mountains. Peak after peak, the Andes seemed endless. And food was running out. To improve the chances of survival, they made one final decision. One man would return to the crash site the remaining supplies.
After days of climbing and descending through brutal terrain, following the water gave them something they had not felt in weeks. Days, they continued forward. Every step was painful. Their bodies were weak, their supplies were nearly gone, but the possibility of finding civilization kept them moving. On December 20th, after more than 2 months in the mountains, they saw something they thought they might never see again. The first sign of civilization they had found. Roberto shouted with everything they had left. The roaring river swallowed their voices. The men across the water noticed them, but they couldn't understand a single word. Cupped his hands and shouted, "Tomorrow!" Then they turned their horses and disappeared. For one more night, the survivors would have to wait. The horseman returned. Unable to cross the river, he tied a pencil and a sheet of paper to a stone and threw it across the rushing water. It was their first real chance to explain. The horseman was stunned. The world believed everyone aboard Flight 571 had died weeks earlier. Without wasting a moment, rescue was finally within reach. The handwritten message Chilean authorities within hours. At first, many refused to believe it. Flight 571 had been declared. The rescue mission was immediately restarted. Pilots rushed to prepare helicopters capable of flying into one of the world's most dangerous mountain ranges. Every minute mattered. The rescue crew, the wreckage, tiny figures emerged from the snow, the last of their strength. Against all odds, they were alive. Landing at that altitude was incredibly dangerous. Because of limited space and fuel, only part of the group could be evacuated that day. The remaining on December 23rd, the rescue helicopters returned. For the survivors, this was the moment they had dreamed about for 70 unimaginable days. The survivors climbed aboard. Many were too weak to walk without help. As the helicopters lifted off, the frozen valley that had imprisoned them for more than 2 months. Helicopters reached civilization, doctors rushed to treat the survivors. They were suffering from severe weight loss, dehydration, exhaustion, and the lasting effects spread around the world. People wanted answers. The survivors spoke openly about the impossible choices they had faced in order to stay alive.